Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alayhim ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. That is the first chapter of the Qur'an, Al-Fatiha. It is called the opening. I greet our listening audience with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum. And a blessed Ramadan Mubarak. This is the month of our ritual fast, the month of Ramadan. So we're going to be looking at chapter 31, verse 28. And I was going to bring up a picture of the school, but I have to get it from my phone. Tomorrow I'll bring it up, a picture of the school in Ghana. I want to thank you all for making donations to the school. We have received some donations so we can complete the next phase. The roofing. We're working on that phase, the roofing. But I'll bring the picture so you can see. We're trying to take a phase at a time, so we can take a little at a time. And then afterwards, those who have made donations to the school, we'll be taking delegations to Ghana so you can visit. You can visit the school, visit Ghana. Take a few days and visit Ghana. It's so many people that what we'll do, we'll just take, every year we'll take it, at least twice a year, we'll take a delegation. And we're going to work on having a meeting or conference with a group of Imams that we will take also. Let us look at Surah 31, verse 28. 31 verse 28. So this is a short piece today that we're going to be looking at. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Ma khalqukum. Ma khalqukum. وَلَا بَعْثُكُمْ. خَلْقُكُمْ is your creation. مَا خَلْقُكُمْ, your creation. Your creation, we have discussed. Now you can see many of these presentations. We want to be consistent in our logic in the presentations that we're making. So خَلْقُكُمْ is your creation that has gone through a process in order to come about from we can say, an original creation. There's a creation from an original creation that was before. But in that original creation, we don't have form. We have not been formed, we could say. So now your form, the form that you have been given from that original creation, we call it khalqukum. Your created form, this created form, and everyone has a created form that if we look at them very closely, you will find that it's based upon a pattern that never existed before. So the human being, those that classify as human beings, yes, we have a common form, a common physical form, and a common functional form, but yet we still have a distinct form that did not exist before. That's khalqukum. Then he says, وَلَا بَعْثُكُمْ. And Ba'ath here, and your translations will say, and your resurrection, your awakening. So here you have a creation, your created form, your creation, nor your resurrection. Ba'athukum. And this resurrection is, we could say, coming to life again, being awakened again. Or, philosophically, your creation and your awakening, your conscious awakening. So we have that as the negation, is not. When you're reading for the students, this is for the students, the Mali students. And the Mali students, I encourage you, I urge you to go and listen to the recordings and just look at the Arabic. Put Arabic in your environment. Look at the Arabic, go back over these, or every day just sit, watch, and pay attention. Because when we get to this in the class, to teach you how to do this, it will not be foreign to you. So mad is a negation when it's used with illa. You have illa and mad. And when you begin reading your nouns, you have it in the Dhamma, you read them first. Your creation, nor your awakening. Or you could say a reawakening. So we have mad and illa, it would be it only. We would say your creation is not except. If say is not except, or we could say only. Kadnafsin, like a soul. Like a soul. So we know we have the Balaga, one of the classes or sciences that we teach with Mali now. For those who may not know, we have a Balaga class. Balaga is looking at the eloquent speech of the Qur'an, how it's formed. Eloquent. So when we see this cast, for those who have been in the class, we know we're going to have some form of tamthil. There's going to be a comparison, a likeness, showing a likeness. We have here this calf. It becomes a particle of likeness. But I'm not going to go into the science right now. Just something to bring to your attention. Nothing is like a soul. Where he that's hidden is one soul. It's like one soul. So this your now, we want to read it clearly. The your is you plural. So when it's using you plural, Allah is addressing all of humanity. When it uses the plural here. All of humanity. The Qur'an is not addressing just the Muslim. The Qur'an is addressing all of humanity. It's revealed to Muhammad the Prophet, and Muhammad the Prophet is addressing all of humanity. He's the universal prophet. He's not a local prophet. He's not a local prophet that comes and address the Arabs. And then everyone follows the Arabs. That's not this religion, al-Islam. Muhammad the Prophet is addressing all of humanity. Arabs, Indians, Africans, so forth and so on. And no one group is to impose their distinct culture on another group. Allah has given us all our distinction. And we're not to impose our distinction on someone else, even individually. I'm not to try to make somebody else like me. Everyone has to be respected in their own skin, as we would say. So he's addressing all of humanity, generally speaking. So your creation and your awakening is like one soul. Inna Allah, surely Allah, Sami'un, is hearing, Basirun, is seeing. He is hearing and seeing. Yet, he does not have ears like we have ears. Yet, he does not have eyes like we have eyes. And the Arabic gives us the clue. Basir here gives us the clue that we're not talking about seeing like we see with our eyes. This Basir means seeing like you see with perception. So Allah perceives. And this hearing then, Sami'un, gives us the idea of hearing with perception. Perception. Perceptive hearing. Not just hearing noises. There's perception. When you hear a noise, that noise registers in our mind, and it registers some form of perception we're to get from the noise, or else we need an awakening, because then we will be dead. We're dead to the noise. Yes. So, in the tafsir we have, مَا خَلْقُكُمْ وَلَا بَعْثُكُمْ إِلَّا كَنَفْسٍ وَاحِدَةٍ, which we just went over. So he's saying, خَلَقًا وَبَعْثًا. خَلَقًا وَبَعْثًا. لأنه بكلمات كن فيكون. So in terms of your creation, a creation, and resurrection, because it's one soul. This one soul in terms of a creation and resurrection, because it is with the saying or the word kun, be. When Allah says be, fayakunu, then it will be. Now, let me just make a comment here. It says be, and it will be, fayakun, but when Allah says be, and it will be, remember we talked about Allah's clock and man's clock. According to man's clock, when Allah says be, fayakunu, this fa here could be within an instant of time, because the fa shows the idea that the time is short between be and yakunu. It's not be and it is. It's not it is. Be, thus it will be. It becomes. Be, then it becomes. Allah says be, then it becomes. This then here, this period of then between be and yakunu would be, according to man's clock, an instant of time. Sometimes it can be so fast, we don't have a clock that can clock it. You know how you run track. You run track and you have a clock. You're clocking the time. From this point to this point, how much time? From this point, kun, to this point, yakunu, how much time? We don't have, it could be so fast, we don't have a clock that can clock the time. But that's on man's clock. But on Allah's clock, this fast could be eons, in comparison to man's clock. On man's clock, we can't clock it. It's too fast. We can't clock it. Allah's clock, we're talking eons, according to man's clock. If we clocked Allah's clock, we're talking eons of time. So the curve between kun and yakunu, meaning that there could have been eons of time when Allah, from the time that Allah creates the first creation to the time that we become formed, eons of times could have existed. But he said be a long time ago. He said kun a long time ago, and we just now see it. You know, we could prove this logic by creation itself, because scientists say the star. When we go and look in the sky and we can see a star, that X, we're seeing the light of the star. We're not seeing that star itself. That star itself could have come and gone, literally have come and gone, and the light that was shining from that star, because of the time it takes for the light to travel from where that star is to the earth, we're just seeing the light. The star itself is gone. And this is the same with sound and light, because it takes time for light to travel. It takes time for sound to travel from one point to another. It takes time. The same way you do in track and field in the old days. I may be going a ways back because I don't know what they do now. But they would have the gun. Now they're starting at the starting point in the blocks. The men, they're down. They're getting down in the blocks. Let's say they're going. Back then it was 100 yards. You're going to run 100 yards, and they're down in the blocks, right? And you're at the finish line, looking back because you're going to start your clock when the gun goes off. That's how you're going to time the runners. So when you're looking back, you can't start your clock according to the sound of the gun, because sound travels slower than light. So when you're looking back, you have to see the spark that's coming from the gun, and you start your clock based upon the spark. Because the light is going to travel faster to you than the sound. I hope you're following. Now, you can see the light of the gun, and you can see the men coming up out of the blocks before you hear the sound. You can see them rising up before the sound gets to you. Now, there was one young man, this is a fable. I should say his name, but I can't say his name. He know who he is. He's from the township. He was so fast. He was so fast that when we see the light, he comes up, and he's at the finish line before we hear the sound. Yes, that's how fast he was. That's a fable. We call it it's not a lie, it's a mythology. It's a mythology. It has to be interpreted. But if you only see it as a lie, you miss the whole mythology. You miss the whole purpose of mythology. Yes. Man uses mythology a lot in his speech. Okay. That's a lesson on the fact. Yes. Inna Allah sami'un. Inna Allah sami'un. Surely Allah is hearing. Yes, Ma'u. Now here for the students again. Yes, Ma'u. I'm putting the vowel marks here so you can see the form and you can see what's on the ain of the verb for the Arabic students. Because, of course, in Form 1, this could be yes ma'u, yes mi'u, or yes mu'u. You're not sure of the ain here. So I'm going to start putting on the verbs. I'll put this here for you so you can recognize it and pronounce it correctly. Even though if I was to say yes mu'u, someone who understands Arabic, they would understand what I'm saying because of the context. If you mispronounce it, if you mispronounce something, someone would know what you're saying by the context. But certain words you can't mispronounce because it'll change the whole word, and it can change things. But we want to speak correctly. So it's yes ma'u, kulla masmu'in. We would say masmu'in. This you should know by knowing forms. Kulla masmu'in. I mean, he hears everything that is to be heard. Basirun, see, yubsiru. So here we're going to use form 4, yubsiru, because here the writer here put mubsarun. He used form 4. This is mubsarun. He put the marks here so we'll know it's form 4. So yubsiru kula mubsarin. So he sees all that is to be seen. This is in the passive. That's what you're seeing. And if you look it up in Form 4, you will see the idea of perception. So he hears and he perceives everything. And in the hearing and the seeing, there's perception. Everything. La yashgaluhu shay'un an shay'in. So nothing diverts him. Nothing distracts him. Yashgalu. Nothing distracts him. Nothing diverts him from anything. Away from anything. This is the tafsir. So now, let us look at the outline that we want to have here for our comments today. So, we have belief and materialism, faith in life after death, rewards in this life and the next life, meaning of janaza, original life is eternal and resurrected on the pattern of original life. In our history of religion, we have had those who didn't believe in anything but the material world. Just in the history of religion. Or materialism, it can be called. Materialism. Their faith in things go no further than what they see or what can be measured according to the contents of matter. We have that today in our school systems, that everything has to be quantified. Your ideas have to be even quantified. Even that which can't be seen by the physical eye, but science has shown that it exists, not by the physical eye, after being inspired by the Qur'an. This is inspiration from the Qur'an, because Allah tells us in the Qur'an that He creates that we see and that we do not see. This is encouraging man to look and see how can we see that Allah has created that we can't see. Like molecules or atomic atoms that we give atomic measure to has been placed in the category of material matter. But we don't see it. We can't see it. There are some animals that only accept things as existing as long as it moves. If it stands still, it just blends into the background of its existence, thus not existing at all to that animal. If it doesn't move, the animal can't see it. Because the animal can't see it, to the animal, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist until it moves. So, their whole outlook on the world is materialism. They become a materialistic kind of people, or they become a materialistic creature. This is the idea of materialism. In religion, we can say. Then, we have another problem in religion with the religious leaders who taught, and they still teach, a false religion. Again, in our history of religious teachings, which affect us presently, even with Muslims, we put a lot of emphasis on the life after death. Meaning we put a lot of emphasis on a life after we leave this earth. When we say life after death. We don't tend to our material responsibilities. Now, someone put up a question yesterday of a hadith who's been influenced by this because all the talking that I'm doing and I've been doing, they put the hadith up and they give the idea that we should not attend to our material responsibilities. There are young men that were not married today and have families because they believe that they will be given virgins, that they're going to have virgins waiting on them in the next life. They put all of their emphasis on the next life and not be responsible, not take on their responsibilities in this life. That the Khalifa principle does not arise in them. That they are to be the governors and responsible for this material earth. The religion is taught that you will get your rewards in the next life for the work that you do in this life. You go to the mosque today, you hear the Imam, he's telling you about your rewards in the next life that you're going to receive for an act that you're doing right now. In this life. They'll be telling you how Allah is going to reward you in the next life for a prayer that you do right now in this life. And the emphasis is on you praying so that you will be rewarded in the next life. You see people on Facebook, when they talk religious talk, they're talking about how these rewards they're going to receive in the next life for things they do in this life. But they can't show you, they don't talk about the reward for you making prayer in this life, the reward that you're going to get in this life. Where's the reward in this life? And many people, that's what they're looking for in religion. What good is it for me to go to the church or go to the mosque and you're only going to tell me about benefits that I'm going to get in the next life when I need some benefits now in this life? You're telling the poor man who needs benefits in this life that his benefits are going to come in the next life. Don't worry about this life. Don't worry about your suffering. Don't worry about your condition. Don't worry about your neighborhood. Let somebody else come in and take care of your neighborhood for you. You just be good, and God is going to reward you in the next life for making your 5 prayers a day and doing all of your rakats and reciting the Qur'an so perfectly. Don't worry about comprehension. Just recite it so perfectly that you are going to be rewarded in the next life. This is the type of religion that we have been given. It's a problem. So the priests, the preachers, the imams, teach to work hard in this life, but don't expect a reward for your work. When God tells us that whatever you strive for in this life, your striving will be seen, meaning that you will see the results of your striving. If you work hard in this life, you will be rewarded. You will see. You will get the reward in this life. Whatever you do in this life, you'll get your reward in this life for it. Even if you get up for suhoor and you stay up, and at 6 o'clock you're listening to these lectures. You listen to these lectures. I'm not giving these lectures for you to be rewarded in the next life. I'm giving these lectures that require you disciplines for you to get up, stay up, and listen. That you doing that. You doing that is going to benefit you in this life. This discipline that we have in our religion, the benefits of it is on this side. So I know it's difficult for some. What about me? It's difficult for me too. But I only have it at 9 o'clock today because of people on the West Coast. People on the West Coast, it's 6 o'clock for them. We have West Coast students. So I said, well, we'll give them at least 2 days that they'll get up at 6 o'clock. But at 6 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock for them. So yes, we're not trying to punish anyone, but don't say have it at 12 o'clock on the East Coast. That way I have time to sleep in. No, Allah has already made it easy. You're sitting at home. You didn't have to even go down to the masjid today. I'm not asking you to get up and get in your car and drive somewhere. Allah has already made it too easy. And at 6 o'clock, some of you are still laying in bed. You just turn the computer on while you're in bed. It can't get any easier than this. And I still get suggestions on how to make it easier. No, you'll be rewarded. We put so much emphasis in religion with these by teachings, which are really false teachings, that a person like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to swing the pendulum in the opposite direction to get us to put our mind on having material success. I know he's condemned by many. That's only after knowledge comes. And the ones condemning him, they don't really do the research. They have not done the research to understand what he was saying and what he was doing. You just hear somebody else condemning, so you condemn. Had more Islam in his teachings then than many of you have in your Islamic teachings now. This happened in the life of Muhammad the Prophet also. He didn't begin to show progress in the religious teachings until he began to show material success. People today are looking for us to show material success before they can accept this religion. But look at both sides as I'm talking. Because religion has always been taught that you don't worry about the material world, just the next life, and you are to be concerned with, and that is a false teaching of the religion. So people don't want to hear that aspect of religion. They don't want to see that aspect of religion. The people want to see the benefits of religion in this life. That's all I'm saying. So what are the benefits? So the brother said to me one day, it was an Imam. He said, Imam Salim, if Arabic was so important to learn, if it was so important to learn to read the Qur'an in Arabic, where's your Cadillac? That's what he asked me. Where's your Cadillac? So I couldn't respond. That's a legitimate question. Where's my Cadillac? So I had to go to work. So I didn't do like most preachers, tell you to send me $1 so I can have a Cadillac. Send me $1 for these preachings I'm doing every morning so I can have a Cadillac to prove to people that you can be blessed in this life. That ain't, look, that ain't it. There's no blessing for you to buy me a car. And then look at the preacher. Look at our preacher. He got a nice, fine Cadillac, beautiful wife, and nice children, nice home. We bought that. We gave him that. We did that for him. That's not solving the problem here. So I had to go to work. I had to go to work like you go to work. Then when I said, okay, I don't drive a Cadillac. I got a Lexus instead. The Lexus rides better. To show him? No. Now to tell you, I go to work. You go to work. If you go to work, it'll be seen. You'll get rewarded for your work. A lot of us have to be told to go to work. We laying around still waiting on reparations. Go to work. I'm not going to keep giving you things. Work. And you work. And Allah says if you work, you'll be rewarded. And you will be rewarded. We still need this type of teaching for a lot of people. In America, a place, the land of plenty. The land of plenty, we still have to have a religion that preaches go to work. In the land of plenty, people coming here, they got to build a wall to keep people from out of America. Think about that. They have to build a wall, literally a wall to keep people from coming to America to do manual labor, to do work the Americans don't want to do. African Americans don't even want to do them don't want to do those jobs anymore. They don't want to go in a hotel and make a bed up. They don't want that job anymore. We deserve more than that now. In America. So we don't work at all. We go down to the office and just ask for some money. Just give me some money to pay for my housing, and give me some money to pay for my children to eat. Give me some money to even pay for daycare. Give me the money. However, the biggest problem that the prophets had and the great seers in history is that there is no more to the human creation than what you see. So I hope you see the paradox in this presentation. That there exists another world. The prophets had to convince us. Imam W.D. Muhammad had to come after his father and convince us that there exists another world on this side of the life that has an effect on the material world that you see, and that the world can't be measured in terms of atomic weight. A whole other world. Yes, there is life after this life, but there is also a spiritual world on this side that is complementary to the physical life on this side. And I believe that is what Allah is saying in the Qur'an when He says the dunya and the al-akhirah. Akhirah and the dunya. I don't believe Allah, when I read the Qur'an, and I was told to read it like this, to read the Qur'an and keep your mind on this side of the life. Don't let it go on the other side. After you're dead and gone, thinking of a life on the other side, though we believe in that life. So when I read dunya and al-akhirah, Allah is talking about the material world that we see and the spiritual world that we don't see, both operating on this side. Try it. Just try it. We have what is called janazah in our religion. Janazah is the funeral service. The funeral service in our religion. Janazah is offered to the dead, that's offered to the dead, has the symbolic meaning of the original pure life that never dies. This is the janazah. The original pure life that never dies. The body of the male is wrapped with 3 and the female with 5 cloths and placed in the grave facing the Kaaba. Now, I'm going to pause here because, and I have to say this. If I don't say this, then I wouldn't be a good Muslim. I wouldn't be a good teacher of this religion if I don't say these things. I have to touch you a little bit. So I don't think anyone listening will take it personal. If you do, take it personal. But it may be happening in other places. We have the body of the male is wrapped and the female is wrapped. And when the bodies are wrapped, they're wrapped totally from the head to toe. The last wrap you put on, the last wrap, it has to be longer than the body, so that you can tie them on both ends. There's no spookiness to be applied to tying the body on both ends. And just think about it. It makes it practical for you to carry the body, to lift the body, and place the body in the grave by having the two ends. And also, the cross won't unravel while you're lifting the body. That's just common sense of why that's done that way. Now, in Christianity, they display bodies. They have open caskets that display bodies. In Islam, we don't display bodies, because once the body is wrapped, you can't see a body. So we go through great lengths, because we don't want to offend our Christian family. We want to wrap the body and then leave the top open, the face open, so they can come and view the body, the face of the body. Okay? And have an open casket memorial service. You have the janazah and you have a memorial service because of Christianity. We're still acting like Christians. When a Christian comes to a Muslim funeral, the Christians should know they're coming to a Muslim funeral, and they're not going to see the same thing they see at the Christian funeral. And when you go to the Christian funeral, you're not going to see the same thing you see at the Muslim funeral, because now we have Muslims and we have Christians. You have some people that are so, I don't know, weak that they'll go out and get Christmas trees and Christmas lights and put them up for the Eve. Because they want to, even though we have these ideas, original ideas in Christmas and the Eve, we could say, but these symbols and things are not Islamic symbols in our religion. But we don't know the meaning of it. We're just doing it. We're not doing it out of meaning. We're just doing it because that's what they do. And since we're in this country, that's what we'll do, and they will love us for being like them. Not an intelligent Christian. An intelligent Christian would not like you because you call yourself a Muslim and you want to be like them, a Christian. An intelligent Christian would want to see a Muslim in their Muslim life. An intelligent Muslim want to see a Christian in his best Christian life. An intelligent Muslim don't want to go see a Christian pretending to be in a Muslim life, and vice versa. So we do these things. We're not even thinking about it. And if they don't like what they see, that's why they're a Christian and we're Muslim. They prefer Christianity over Islam. That's fine. If you don't like the hat that I'm wearing, fine. Wear your own hat. So now, here's the point I want to make, and you all listen. Here in the United States, in most states, the body is in a casket. You can wrap the body, according to the tradition of Islamic religion, put the body in a casket. Close the casket, turn the body on the side. So when you put it in the grave, it's going to be facing the Kaaba, all the traditions. If you have to have it in the casket, turn it on the side and have it facing the Kaaba. You don't have to reopen the casket. The body is not going to turn over, believe me. It's not going to flip over and all of that while you're driving. And these cars that we have now, they're not going to turn a corner so sharp and so fast that the body is going to roll over in the casket. It's not going to happen. Most of us have these Cadillacs that we have the bodies in. We're transporting them in. We're not transporting them in a Chevy. Okay. Now, when you get to the gravesite, some of us have a tradition, opening the casket, untying these knots. Some of us may have the tradition of opening the casket, taking the body out the casket, and lowering it in the grave. Just the body itself. Okay. Doing all of this, here's my point. Or some have the open casket. I just went to a funeral, Muslim funeral. The children are Muslim. The person passed away is Muslim. The grandparents are Muslims. They're all Muslims, so they have why would they have a Christian? Why would they act like Christians? But anyway, open casket. Now, in the open casket, where they have left the face open, they reach inside. Before they close the casket, they're going to reach inside and cover the face back with the cloth. Here's my point. You're at the gravesite, you're reopening the casket, you're reaching in there, grabbing the pieces, or untying, or some of you reach in, you're going to turn the body. You're going to turn the body because you fearing the body was going to flip over while it was in the car, something being transported. You're doing all of this, and this is what does not come to your mind. You don't wash your hands. You don't wash your hands. You would stick your hand in there, and the cloth can be soiled from the fluids of the body, and you can touch it. And you don't even think to wash your hands. And turn around and shake somebody's hand. You don't put gloves on. You go to Subway to get you a Subway sandwich and demand that they not only I want to see you wash your hands and put the gloves on. Get the new gloves. Put them on. Because I don't want you touching my food. But yet, just think about it. People are handling dead bodies, open caskets, in a room, in a musalla, in a building that's not designed for funerals, not designed for funeral care, not funeral care people, and you stick your hand in there, handling that cloth, the body's been laying there overnight, 2 nights, however long, and you're handling the cloth, you're handling the body still, and you don't wash your hands, you don't use gloves. And I wouldn't go as far as to say, if you have that janaza in that masala, I'm going to go as far as to say you need to spray the room after you was done. Now, I talk like this to put emphasis on it. So now, let's get back to our talk. So the body and the female are wrapped. It is turned towards the Kaaba because the Kaaba represents for us the original life that God created, or the original pattern upon which He has created all people, as we've seen from the verse. And not only has He created the people from this original pattern, as we have said in the past speeches, it is also the original pattern of creation itself. All creation, religion, the human beings, so forth and so on, are all created from the same original nature, this original cloth, cut from the same cloth. We have this idea from the Bible, and Jesus being a sign of the original life. He's a sign of the original life when He says, I am the resurrection and the life. You see it's common to what the Qur'an is saying. I am the resurrection and the life. He that believes in me, though we were dead, yet shall have life. And I hear this at Christian funerals. And I can identify what they're saying. Understand the same because the Quran is saying the same thing. Practically. Your created life form and your resurrection is as one soul. All souls have the same pattern of life. The original life is with us always. It is eternal. It never goes away. The original life never goes away. We may become unconscious or unaware of it, but it can be revived in us. I want you to listen closely so you can get it. We can experience a spiritual death, though we are physically living on this side of the life. And we can be resurrected upon the same original pattern that we were created on and become a new life. And become a new life, we could say. The same pattern, original nature, that we were patterned upon the first time, Allah can bring it back a second time on this side of the life we're talking, after experiencing a spiritual death on this side of the life. I believe that what the religious people are saying when they say we have been born again, or as we say, we have reverted to the same original life that we were born in. We also experience a physical death. A physical death we experience. When we're dead, put in the casket, go underground. That type of death. Though the spiritual life continues to live. Now we can have a physical life with a spiritual death, and we can have a physical life, a physical death, and a spiritual life. In a report on the prophet's life, he was speaking to the disbelievers that were in the grave. He was speaking to them in the grave, in the physical grave, speaking to them. So his companions were saying to him, "Why are you doing that? They can't hear you. They're dead. They can't hear you." He said, "They can hear me, but they just can't respond that I will hear them." They do not have the control of the body in order to respond to me, but they can hear me. Muhammad the Prophet has said, "None dies or is resurrected except on the original pattern of Adam. And his pattern was 60 arm spans. 60 arm spans. Man was created on the 6th day. And the 0 is the intellect of the spirituality in the place of 10. We say 60, we have 6 and a 0. The 0 is in the place of the 10. 10, if we know our numbers, our number system. Whereas 10 is symbolic of consciousness. When the original nature that we are created upon reaches the intellect, then it is then that we say man has become conscious. And when we are aware of that consciousness, that we become conscious of begins to form our conscience. We call both words conscious, our conscience. Now we place the body in the grave and cover it with dirt, saying that we no longer have any control over it. We don't have no authority over him. And there's nothing we can do to help when we put in the body in the grave. Let me say this also about the janazah. When we have the janazah, the person, the true person, Salim, is no longer in the body. It's not in the body. But we are told that we have to stand for the body. Whether the body in this life was a Muslim, Christian, or Jew, you are to show honor to the body. That's what we're doing. We're honoring the body. Listen closely. Because the body is part of the original creation also, because all of us, as we said, the creation, the spiritual life, the material life, is all cut from the same original pattern. And when we're born in that original pattern, and we're in that original pattern is the obedience of God. So we're born obedient. We're not born disobedient. And the baby is born obedient to its true nature. Who taught the baby to cry, to be changed? When the baby wants the diaper changed. Who told the baby to cry when it wants to be fed? Who gave the baby all these different cries that the mother can tell one cry from another? Who did that? Coming out of the womb of the mother. Coming out of the womb. Who told the baby to cry coming out of the womb? Who told the baby to start communicating coming out of the womb? So the baby is obedient to its original nature. The nature hasn't been influenced. And the baby hasn't been influenced out of that nature. The body itself, it's obedient to its nature. And the body cannot be altered in the sense that the body will disobey. The body stays in that nature. The only one who changes is the person inside the body is affected. The body is not. The body is obedient. If you stuff the body with food, the body gets fat. The body gets fat. The body gets fat. The body won't even bust. The skin will stretch and stretch and stretch. You stretch it, it'll stretch. You don't stretch it, it won't stretch. It's obedient. It's not disobedient. So at the janazah, at a funeral service, we're honoring the body. We stand and we respect this body because this body was obedient to its master. Why punish the body? The body is obedient. So you don't have to punish the body. Why are you mutilating a body by cutting off the hand of the body? The body didn't do the act. The person did the act. Why are you cutting off the hand? Why are you mutilating the body? Why do you take the body and burn it? So it's not about standing for a Jewish person and this and that. It's the body. And it's saying to us that we should have the same obedience towards our master, the real person. The real person, the spiritual real person, our true self, should have the same obedience to our master, Allah, as his body was showing to its master, Salim. That's the message that we're to receive. And we want to show honor to this body, honor to this creation that was so obedient. We leave the body to the original pattern of nature when we put it in the grave. And God can resurrect him upon that same pattern. It is in the hands of God now, as we say. In the hands of Allah. And we also have to come to the realization that we have no knowledge of what is on the other side of this life. That's why we're called believers. We don't know, but we believe. And Allah has given enough on this side of life for us to have faith and belief about the other side. we believe that just as Allah created us the first time, He can resurrect us again in a new life after we leave this life. And He can resurrect us upon the same original nature that He created us upon the first time. We believe this can happen in this life, experiencing a spiritual death, that we can have a new life. And we believe also on the other side, we can have a new life. Because we believe in Allah. And Allah has created this pattern, and we return to this pattern. We don't return to Allah. It's not that from Allah we come, to Allah we return. We don't return to Allah. That's shirk. To say we return to Allah, no. We return to that original pattern that we come from the first time. We created the first time. Allah says, "Kum." We become in that created, fatara, fitra, the first time. And under that fitra we have halaka. We're formed then. Now after this form, we take this form that we have taken on, we put the form, that form goes back in the ground to all of its basic material elements. And the spiritual life that occupied that form, it returns to its original created form. And in that original created form, Allah can extract us out of that form and be given another life just like He did the first time. And the Qur'an brings to our attention, if Allah did this the first time, don't you think He could do it again? And if He does it again, don't you think it would be much easier than He did the first time? Because He's already done it before. He can do it again. That's our faith, our belief. And on this side, those who we render dead spiritually, some of the religious leaders write them off. They're spiritually dead, though they're in these bodies. And all we have to do is resurrect one soul out of this dead group. Resurrect one soul out of this dead group, and that one soul, like that one soul is resurrected, all the others in that one group can be resurrected upon that one soul. Yes. We don't have to resurrect every individual soul. Just give the message to one. Just inspire one. And the rest will be inspired upon that one. That's our lesson for today. We thank you for attending this session this morning. And again, I want to thank you for your donations to help build the school that we are building in Ghana as we develop our relationship with the Ghanaians. Ramadan Mubarak. Peace be upon you. The thanks and the praise belong to Allah.